Hello everyone, and welcome back to our stream. What we're going to be looking at is a match between Pen... He's never really told me how to say that name. I'm just going to... Penenbuse. I feel like this is probably the hardest name I've ever said in my life, but... I need a phonetic spelling from him. That's really what I need. I think that is what is missing from my vocabulary here. But we're gonna watch a match between him and Rocto. So the two of them are fighting over the Feudal Lord title, the title that was not defended by Hopbeef. I don't know if I should strip Hopbeef of the title, or maybe Hopbeef can just be like another Feudal Lord, but he's not like the current Feudal Lord. There's more than one Feudal Lord, so I think that would all make sense. Regardless, we're going into it right now. And pretty standard openings. We're playing the Franks versus the Bulgarians here. As you can see, they both have 6 villagers, 2 scouts. The usual way of things for these kind of games. And they're just building up slowly. Look at that. Ooh, yes. Here we are, the good old standard building opening. We'll see if there's any big changes to them. You can see the wood line here is being set up a little bit later. A little bit later than, I don't know if he would have liked, but definitely later than his opponent. We have the 2 boars over here for Rockdove, and Pen has them here as well. Ooh. Where's this villager going? I feel like this is the villager like waiting for the boar, but it's not actually going to get the boar. No, building a house. Probably smart. Probably don't want to be supply block. You probably want to have your population limit not be blocked, and so here we go, a house being built. As these players develop, we'll see if there's any kind of big changes that happen. Big thing to keep in mind here on the top right, top left, you can see the villager count. So if one player is ahead on that, they're probably getting a better economy, meaning they'll be able to build up a little bit faster, make more army units in the future, and so on. But yeah, right now they're getting the boars, getting all that food. Really important here. Another thing to keep in mind as well, something you'll also want to take a look at, keep in mind, is who is going to age up faster or slower, right? If there's one person that ages up faster, then the other person's got to playing from behind. Unless, that other person decides to attack earlier. We have a mill going up here. The mill's not quite going up yet for Rocto, so there actually is a difference in their openings here from the very beginning. We'll see if it makes a big difference, as the game goes on. But right now, I feel like Pen has a cleaner kind of standard opening. That could possibly change. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Ooh, Pen's leaving 2 here at the mill. Where's this one going?
Duh.
Building something? Yes. Is it building another house? Okay, yes, just making sure you're not supply block. Or sorry, what would be the Age of Empires term? That's the one thing I would want to know. What is the Age of Empires term for housed? I guess I'm just gonna use housed because that's the lingo, the jargon that they use. But there you go, a mill up now for Rocto. Both of them pretty even so far. We'll see if any strategies develop as they continue on. Scouts are happening here, moving around. I will say the follow unit feature here in Age of Empires feels kind of static sometimes, but hopefully it won't be anything too bad. But yeah, they continue on. Ooh, we do see Loom being researched from Roctov. Not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but it is one less villager that you're making during that time. And so, yeah, we'll continue on here. Thank you for that follow, Haas. I see you. I see you. And right after that, Roctov is going straight into H2. Now, this won't be a big of a deal unless, Pen doesn't go into H2 pretty quickly. So if we see Pen kind of stick around beforehand, it feels like Pen got 2 more villagers, so that's ahead. But if he doesn't age up right after this, I would start to get worried in a game like this, because that can really snowball as this game continues. But we're continuing on here. Ooh, I like what he did. So if you didn't notice, very quickly, Pen here, once he knew he had enough resources probably to age up to get the 500 food that he needed, he just said, had all his work, all the workers that were getting food from the boar, had them deliver it to the town center and age up so he didn't get behind. So that's actually, I think, a great little play there. Because sometimes you might wait till like they fully harvested the boar, I guess is the correct term. Wall being start to build up. This is really big if there's any early aggression that comes out of Pen as he ages up. No wall from Pen for now. So I think Pen kind of feels pretty confident. Walls are this funny thing where it's like, well, 100% you need them unless you think you're like a significantly better player than the other person, or you think they're not going to attack you forever. So you can kind of wait on them if those are two things that you think. But okay, we have another barracks. This is interesting actually from Rockdove going for 2 barracks. I don't think I've seen 2 barracks. Oh no, it is a stable. Okay, that really confused me for a second. My bad. It is a stable. way more sense. Tactile captures to show research text. If you give me what the hockey is for it, yes. Otherwise, I don't know if I'll be able to do it on the flow here. I don't want to get too distracted as things start to develop here. But hello, Pen and Rock. You guys making it to the stream. It's a nice feeling, you know. But yeah, okay, little bit of aggression come here from go from Pen. Yeah, Pen is really starting to put that pressure. This tower, this is such an annoying tower, you know what I mean? Oh, and already the walls around it, it's just so annoying, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not necessarily gonna win you a game, but it's, something that other, an opposing team might be wary about. It's also good kind of standard position if you're putting on this aggression, right? Like these two little knights, little soldiers here, the men-at-arms, if they're ever in trouble, they just run back to the tower and then they'll have an advantage in their little skirmishes. However, the one thing that doesn't happen here in a lot of these games is like you never actually start putting pressure on that wood line. However, I do like the second tower, putting that aggression on. I wonder if Pen is actually doing any mining of stone back here. Yes, he is. So he'll be able to keep up this tower pressure. I like this aggressive start. Nice change of pace a little bit. So we'll see how it works out. But it's also a lot of aggressive units. Right now, Rockdave only has 2 scouts, which is not enough to deal with 2 towers. Let me put it that way. Also, this blacksmith, I guess it could be kind of just there to protect the general thing, but right now it feels like a lot of pressure is being put on Rockdove, and we'll see if he'll be able to do something about it. Lots going on here, lots going on. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like right now there is no response from Rockdove. Having a tough time. Defensive tower is definitely good, but with this many attacking units from Pen, Rockdove will have a hard time defending. And this is kind of pressure that doesn't really let up, right? You can just keep running around the base, and you can probably win any fight as long as literally Pen doesn't go right up to the town center. He's gonna have full kind of control of this area. Yeah, one tower is up, but all you have to do is avoid it. You can start putting aggression on the left side, you can start putting aggression on the right side. There's a nice little hill here. That's a really nice placement of if you can get a tower up there. I don't know about this. Yeah, this may be the worst solution. Is attacking underneath the towers, putting on a lot of pressure, especially the town center here. Now we'll see how long Rockdove keeps his ears. Okay, brings him out, yeah. But all he has to do right now, all Pen has to do is threaten, and probably get in a wood line as well. If you get in the wood line, there's no real defense, right? There's nothing protecting it. So you don't really wait around this front tower. You just keep putting pressure all around, just keep the units moving around the base. You never even have to go in here, right? If you start to threaten, they go into this town center, you've accomplished everything. You've been able to prevent him from getting food. So you've done all you had to do. So yeah, you don't even have to fight under towers. You don't have to fight under things. All you have to do is put the pressure on the round. So right now, we'll see if this defense happens. It is a lot of pressure, but until Pen is able to start getting into the wood line, I don't kind of see it, snowballing or ending the game. Actually, I kind of feel like it's kind of stalemated a little bit. I do like this. This is very nice. Maybe break down this wall. This is interesting because like there's a whole area here you could just walk through, but I don't know how that's gonna resolve. Back here, these towers are just slowly taking out different buildings. I don't think it's General pressure, but it's not anything like too crazy. Yeah, if you keep doing this, I mean, eventually you'll break down the wall. I just think you could have ran past here and kept putting a lot of pressure. I don't know where this wood line went. Oh, okay, just moved it to the stone. Interesting. Maybe trying to get some towers of his own. Not a terrible idea, actually. Just fighting towers with towers. It's kind of your go-to break. So yeah, I think Rockdove actually, kind of considering where it started, is doing okay. He is ahead 5-6 villagers. So that's one thing. It's kind of like if he loses no villagers and stabilizes eventually, he'll do fine. This is where I'm starting to get... Ooh, what a great pullback. Amazing, amazing. Yeah, but this is that funny thing where he's going to kind of play around with that town center. Oh, he's going to actually attack with villagers. Remember, they do have loom. He did get loom. It's actually going to help him out a lot in this scenario, and I like this. Just 6 villagers on the inside means he can keep shooting arrows and fight this. Already taken out most of those units with the scouts and the villagers. Yeah, this has been a great hold. There's still a lot of pressure with the towers. Honestly, though, the towers aren't preventing him from doing much, so all he has to do is just keep getting resources outside of these towers, and he should be fine. So just great defense from Rockdave overall. He kept building villagers through the whole thing. It's mining fine. So, like, this feels like a lot of pressure, but, he just kind of... I think you just ignore those towers, you have your own defensive towers up now, and you're pretty good to go. Well, I think that's my best play. Yeah, no, you play great here at Rockdove. I'm really impressed by, like, your calm and your ability to handle the situation. A lot of times, like, I think in this situation, getting up your own towers and just making sure your villagers are still getting resources was great. It was absolutely great. Not much you can probably do about this barracks, but you might want to get like a stable or something in the background, because you're probably gonna go cav regardless. Ooh, interesting. Penn getting a bunch of gold. We'll see what he's planning here. Although it seems like now. Oh, Penn is going to the 3rd age. All right, that's something that we haven't quite been keeping up with. So if Penn is able to get to that 3rd age, especially is able to get enough for a castle, that's when once again this dynamic changes. The castle pressure could be a lot. Maybe placing it on the right side here. You have a bunch of towers on the other side, so big castle here might be huge. The right move, you think? So Rockdove is telling me here that you're saying going to the 3rd age. Yeah, I think the 3rd age is good. Keeping on the pressure is always good because a player, like, if you're the player defending, you're always kind of a little bit on tilt. I like this. Another thing about towers is they can't shoot right under them, so you just have to, once you have enough units, you can start attacking them directly, and this town center is too far away to actually protect it. The only thing I could say differently is maybe if this tower was if the towers were within range of each other, I think that helps a lot, because one tower can protect the other, kinda. But yeah, this 4 squad of man-at-arms is doing a lot here. No, a lot of players would have panicked a lot more. I'm gonna be honest. This is a great hold. It's one of those things where like you have to have, like, remain fully calm and build up to your next stage and to your next things, and just not die, and you'll be fine. And he is doing, Rockdove is doing that, getting that going for that 3rd age as well. Is still ahead in villagers, so I think overall this is pretty good. My biggest fear is if Penn is getting a little bit of stone, right? If you push a castle here, I think that is really hard for Rockdove to get rid of. Right now he can really ignore these towers, right? And these 3 of the upgraded, the men of arms have now become longswordsmen, which I kind of like. Not that I don't know. I don't know if I'd recommend having like a man at arms strategy, but with the man aggression that's coming out, ooh, the knights are coming out as well. I think this will be definitely very difficult to deal with. Yeah, building up an army, standing army is big. This is tough though. Once you start getting knights though, like, you do so much less damage against them, right? Even the scouts are age up. It would take them a lot longer to keep putting pressure on. I think that age up was great. Yeah, this might also be the big kind of tipping point as well. I think this mangonel, like, one mangonel shot on this is very scary. So we'll see how that turns out. Man, this is such play that I tend to not be like that. Like, I feel for me, like, sometimes I don't ever try to, like, just have one-off or, like, mangonels. I'm just like, yeah, I'm just gonna do, like, stupid knights, and just make knights, right? But this actually puts so much pressure on Rocco, which I love, right? Because he can't just like let his crossbowman die to one mangonel shot, which I think is great. So yeah, just a lot of pressure. Essentially, you're building out your whole kind of your whole building production out in front of his base, which I think is great. A couple of things that could be done, as always. You can always, try a counterattack. Easier said than done, but like, there's literally nothing right now in Penn's base. So, 4 scouts, maybe even 4 knights. Just like getting all these tree lines, I think would be a good kind of distraction. Easier said than done, obviously. But yeah, we'll kind of see how this is going. I think Penn's putting a lot of that pressure on. The second town center is big too. I think developing your own economy is great. I think it's actually what in the long run is going to make sure you can keep this pressure on. So I think that's really, really great. So a lot of pressure happening here all over the place. Ooh, the battering ram, the non-upgraded battering rams destroying towers. That's great. I wonder if yeah, I think the mangonel actually helped the Treb a little bit. But he does end up getting the Trebuchet, sorry, not the Treb, the battering ram. The battering ram does end up going down. I don't know what's going on with the farms here, but I guess that's the one kind of thing. It kind of feels like with all this mangonel pressure now, it's really starting to take a turn. Like, I don't know if this is the response. I think knights are great, but I don't know how he's gonna get on them here. Oh, he is. Let's see if he can make it onto the mangonels. I think it's actually a great little play. If this knight can get onto this mangonel, yes, good, great, amazing. Ooh, the crep host, yes, the crep host, the mini castle. I love this. I love the repair too on the mangonel. That's great. So constant pressure from Penn. They're even in villagers now, so that is no longer kind of the case. Rocktop almost has enough. Like, honestly, if he should have a market at this point, right? Ooh. If Rocktop did have a market, maybe selling, getting enough for a castle might help. Oh, man, I love some of these. The konik, the horse. Yeah, I love some of these like unique things from the Bulgarians here. But yeah, a lot of pressure going down. Continuously. And this is interesting castle placement. I do like that you got to that castle, Rocktop. That's great. I don't know if you can protect your town center with this castle, unfortunately, because the town center is kind of left to its own devices. I guess getting to Arbalest might be big here. And kind of, trying to get around these 2 Krepos might be one thing. But this is, man, this one mangonel is so scary. Yeah, jeez. The pressure is on. The pressure's on. University happening here, castle going up. Rocktop really trying to do his best. But this is where we see, if you look at the villager count, it's really starting to get away from him. I think the 2 town centers are really starting to pay off for Penn here. So even though that economy, actually, Rocktop maintained the economy throughout most of the game, I think at this point with the pressure still going on, it's really starting to hurt. That being said, he does smart. He's doing smart things, just kind of expanding this way, which I would. Like, honestly, I would just completely, like, start moving everything continuously into this empty zone. Because, yeah, you don't really have to fight these castles, right? Or these Krepos. You can just leave them be. Franks of Arb. Oh, the Franks of Arbs. You're right. You have to go full cav for sure. I think it's just because I saw the sheer battle crossbowman you made. I was like, oh, that would be a good idea. But you're totally right. Yeah, no, he had so little army. Honestly, that's one tough thing to know. It's like, oh, this feels like a lot, but it's like these are standing buildings that don't really, they can't move. So he has to keep building them forward. And this one castle has already protected you from any further movement. So. Ooh, I love this 2 town center. I love this. Yeah, honestly, like you can just, in theory, you can just build a straight wall from here to here and pretend that he took over a non-important part of the map, right? And you can probably go to attack. So that might be a big thing. Yeah, these 20 Putting across bowmen at this point in the game, I think, oh, for sure. I would have loved to have seen this earlier. However, there really isn't anything to defend back home. So all he has to do is just push in, and he should be able to get a lot of free villager kills there. So, yeah, I think knights, but even these arbalests, right? Once you kind of saw you have your castle up, there's not real any pressure coming anymore. The earlier you could have sent these guys, and you don't even have to attack town centers, right? Get these couple people to go into the town centers, and then you get in this back line where it's not defended, right? I think that's a really big thing. Or if you just keep him hiding in town centers, that it's also preventing Penn from getting any resources. So those are all things you could have done for sure. Yeah, like, because even with the kind of economic advantage that Penn has built for himself here, like, yeah, all you do is as soon as they go in, you stop fighting it because you're not going to destroy the town center. So yeah, there it is, perfect. You go around, awesome, and you just keep them in the town centers as long as you can. That's really all you can do. Prevent them from getting all these resources. This is a whole bunch of free villagers, so if you can make it there, I think that'll be great. But yeah, there really isn't any more pressure coming from Penn right now. Like, I actually think Penn's kind of attack, his map positioning, right, where his units are, is strong. This is the first time we're actually seeing him trying to harass a couple of those units here. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, these two town centers here should help a lot. Double villager production. I don't know. I guess you're running away a little bit from the Scorpion, which I think is fair. But yeah, even these, before this Krepos goes up, even these crossbowmen probably could have gotten in here. Even as slow as they are, they probably could have gotten here, done some damage, or just kept him off the resources. I think that would have helped a lot. Lots of mini skirmishes happening, a castle being built up to here to help with that protection. I think this is all fine, actually. I think this is all going as well as it could be. I just don't really know what the next steps are for either team, right? I don't really see both teams having necessarily a concrete plan of the next steps. I think Penn went, okay, I'm gonna build the economy, right? So Penn's there building the economy, but I haven't really seen what's happening beyond that, right? If there's any kind of aggression planned. I do like this. I think any kind of cav just kind of running around annoying these guys, I think is great. Yeah, there's a couple. It kind of feel like all of a sudden we've kind of stalled out a little bit, which I think is actually quite interesting given the amount of aggression that we saw from Penn so early on. Yeah, this is good. Anytime Penn gets rocked up to hide in his town centers is good. Yeah, I think a lot more could have been done with these crossbowmen, but you know, it's at a point now where I think the game is still very much winnable for both of you. It kind of depends what your late game strategy will be, right? I think as Penn gets to a point where you can actually start taking down castles, that's when Rockdove will feel very, very vulnerable. They're both still in third age, though, which I do find interesting. They haven't really pushed that to that next age. Oh, here we are. Yes, yes. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, literally just keeping them here. Keep these guys and just run around back and forth, because I think this army's actually bigger. Mangonels are such a great counter, though. Ooh, Mangonels are such a good counter, because that means that you have to pay attention and you have to not let them get a good shot on. So this, I think this Mangonel might be a hero here for a second. Yeah, yeah. Oh, nice movement, nice movement. This is a lot more micro-intensive than maybe you would have liked, but yes, amazing, amazing. They're surviving. Oh, there goes a couple. Yeah, I think the siege workshops, like the Scorpion and the Mangonel here, are actually doing so much work for Penn. He's like, I'm gonna build no army, but I'll have 2 siege weapons or siege units, and they're gonna help me out. It's kind of what I felt here. Ooh, this is a large migration here. I wonder what Penn's. Oh, just the new town center, kind of building up. And I guess this means you can build more production buildings, right? For the amount of food that Penn has, the I think especially if you get your people chopping wood up, you can probably build a whole more production buildings and just make a whole bunch. Because right now the actual production that's happening from Penn is quite slow, right? There's only, what do we got? We got 2 buildings here that are building most of the things. So I think you're at a point, especially if you get a couple more people on a wood line, right? Where you could build up a whole bunch of production buildings here, and just at some point, you know, let's just say you want to harass with the cavalry, just have like 5 stables, right? So you can continuously produce them. Right now, your actual ability to build an army is very, very slow. So the amount of buildings that can actually build the army, like it's gonna take you a while to get to an amount you actually want. I'm actually so surprised that you're so low on it. I think you need a couple more people getting wood here over gold, because you can build up that. Here it is, but still, it's like 1 stable, right? Maybe the castles can kind of count for something. The Krepos, right? They can build something, but I don't know. I feel like 5 stables easily, you know? just have them here, and then when you want to build that army, when you want to harass, you'll be able to do so quite easily. This is actually getting very intriguing. I think this is great what Rockdove has done here. Kind of going into this north area, continuing to build town centers, and just expanding away from this, you know, this position. And like, this feels like, this feels so great, because it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna place 1 castle, and I'm gonna not worry about this side of things, you know? It looks like we're finally at a point now with these. Actually, these knights can get these, what are they calling it? The battering rams quite easily here. So let's hope that happens here, for the sake of Rockdove. A 4th town center. This is wild. This is wild. Okay. So Penn is actually at 114 villagers right now, which I think 115. You're at a point now where you actually don't have to build more. You just have to make sure that they're equally distributed, and they seem to be. Don't worry about stone. So yeah, I think you're actually at a point where you don't want to build more villagers. So, I mean, even a 110, even like 100 sometimes is enough. So you're definitely at a very good point now. It's all about having building that army up. This is the army time. Oh, Treb is up for now. This is actually great. So Rockdove might actually be able to clear this whole side. Now, clearing this whole side, doesn't win him the game, but what it does very nicely is this is where all his production is. Like, if this goes down. Side note: if Penn wanted to win this game at any point, you know, drop 10 stables here, send in knights, you win. So. The Krepos make these Konik guys, so I think that's nice, having a couple of those Krepos as your production buildings. But I love this. It seems the Trebs have done enough. He's actually going to seem to clear it at this point. I don't know where the Knights of Rockdove have went. I would like to see, if you're actually fighting over this side of the map, I would like to see more Knights here. Alternatively, once again, 20 Knights from either of you running in to probably wins you the game. 30 Knights for sure. So yeah, I think that's a big thing that's happening here is there's such a focus on this left flank, but both your bases are like completely exposed. People are just gonna run into town centers and sit there for a year. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, I think that's actually very fascinating. There's such a focus on this left side, but like to both the players, it really doesn't matter anymore. I think Rockdove is maybe a little having trouble with like that gold production, so I think that might be something. Trebuchets, we got a couple trebuchets here somewhere. We see, oh, they're here. I don't know why they're sieged up, but they're here. So these are great. They could definitely be used. Yeah, there's part of me that feels like there's such a focus for both of you on this side, and you're both building up economically, but it's like, it's not important right now. I do like this. This trap pressure actually might make it, that might be enough for you to break this side. So I do like that, I guess. You don't want to just build another line of buildings to slowly creep towards your main base. So you do have to prevent that. However, there's another part of me, once again, that feels both of you might have placed an overemphasis on this particular castle. Oh, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. That's a trebuchet lost. Yeah, so this Treb war is going to be won 100% by Penn at this point. That being said, ooh, we got 3 Trebs here. I would like to see these 3 at least destroy this tower. This Treb is a little too close, I feel. Oh, I kind of love that though. He's just like, nah, ignore it. We're just gonna hit the castle. I kind of really like this. Actually, he's like, I'm done with this. I'm just hitting the castle. I don't care about the Trebs. Because if the castle falls, like, what's gonna stop his army, you know? If you can just get enough to get this guy. I actually really like that play. Ooh, yes, the Cavalier. Cavalier, take out things. Okay, the castle's down. It's at a point where the Cavalier can probably take down some of these Trebs or the Scorpions. Yeah, this has actually worked in Rocto's favor. This I don't understand, but sure. I think Roctov is also at the villager, like the maximum villagers you'd ever want, so that's great. It's kind of evened out in that respect. Penn has such a big bank though, right? There's so much Penn can reinforce with. And here it is. Here is the line of stables that I would like to have seen earlier, but they're here. Knights against these Cavaliers might be kind of tough though. I think this is in a one-on-one he wins if he amasses his units properly. He's ignoring it. Interesting. I think these are going to take down a bunch of villagers, but the villagers don't actually matter that much at this point. Question mark? I think this is definitely like a point in the game where both your ability to control all the situations happening on the map at once starts to get tested. So I find that very interesting. Yeah, but I think 100%. Oh no! Now finally, they're both even, right? Penn is able to get that Cavalier upgrade, so there's no longer advantage. And I think this is where the Knights might, the Cavaliers might start to take over. However, having these reinforcements so close, I think that's great. But I feel like Penn must be ahead on a lot of the upgrades. What are we here? +3, +4, +4. As opposed to +2, +2. So, yeah, Penn is ahead on those upgrades for those, the Cavaliers. So, there you go. I think that's actually making a big difference. And he can probably, yeah, he's just right-clicking downtown centers. And calls it here. Wow. So, I think if I were to, I guess, give my final analysis here, I think it was the burden of, Roctov to kind of, after the early pressure, to either put some pressure on or catch up in upgrades and economically. And so that's why I think Penn's kind of strategy worked. However, I think the amount of pressure that Penn was actually putting on Roctov was a lot less than both of you thought. I think it was a lot less than both of you thought. That's my, what's the word? Random thoughts on it. Unique to means beginning cav attack faster. Ooh, I like that. That 100%. So essentially, you would have had to have massed a bigger cav army if you ever want to face it. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But it's like even on the armor and the attack, the strength, like I think you're behind 2 of the blacksmith upgrades. I don't know if that's entirely fair, but I think that's what the statistic was. Yeah, it felt like there's a lot of emphasis on this left side that maybe shouldn't have been there. However, you did kind of end up clearing that a little bit, so I was very impressed by that. All right, we're going to continue on here with match number 2. Now, there is a third one in the Four Lakes. However, I have not been told whether it's just them. We do this so that to avoid any spoilers, the third map. So the third map could just be them hopping into a game and then leaving, just so I have that third replay. But we're going into African clearing, our second match. Right now, Penn is up 1-0. We're going to try this one more time. Oh my goodness, is it so loud? Hopefully it's not too bad on the stream, but we're going to try this one more time. We're going to go through our second game. We're going to our second game here in this best of 3 between Roctov and Penn. Had a little bit of I don't know, had a little bit of trouble yesterday. It doesn't seem like we're dropping as many frames today, so hopefully that will make this stream a little bit better. And for those of you who are catching it live, welcome. I don't know how many there be because I'm not announcing it. I'm just making sure the VOD gets up and everything. But yeah, here we go. Here we go. Standard opening here. I guess as standard as it can be for a what would you call this? A nomad map, of course. Standard opening. And it's just kind of a race here as to see which one of these gets their town center up first. Nice house being built. That's one thing that I don't do, but you should definitely do. I think a nomad probably build a house right away because your population cap will be at 5. putting you in a difficult position should you want to build any villagers after the town center is up. But here you go, 3 and 3. Just now going for this other town center. So the other house. So interesting kind of takes on this, but yeah, I guess in Nomad more than anything, make sure you try to get up your town center as quickly as possible, and at some point, build that house before you finish the town center. I think that's a go-to plan, I might say, you know, a go-to way to do it. But yeah, here we are. Just fishing. I do like that the town centers are right beside the small pool. It's a pool. It's not a, what'd you call this, a pond? I guess it's like a, I'm actually quite amazed. Like I kind of want to think of like how it would be possible for there to be so many like small little ponds so close to each other and not like connected at all. I think that would be great. A puddle, really? It is a puddle. Yes, it is. Welcome, Cursor. Welcome. Yes, we are in a best of 3 here. We had some technical issues yesterday, so I'm just re-recording today. But this is the second match. Currently, Penn is up 1-0. And so if Penn wins this game, he's going to be crowned the Feudal Lord in our Age of Empires Discord server. So that's kind of the ranking he's at, the ranking that he's fighting for. Ooh, I see a little train beside your thing, Cursor. Is that like, were you on the hype train? Intense? Yes. Our previous Feudal Lord, Cursor, so to give you the backstory here, our previous Feudal Lord was not, well, you know, maybe declined. I don't know if he declined to fight. Not interested in defending his title, all right? So we now have 2 challengers for the title of Feudal Lord. Although there's another part of me that maybe thinks, okay, maybe he can just be like a Feudal Lord that like got up and left and went to like a different kingdom. You know, he has his own little area of land, and so he's just kind of far away. Maybe he'll come back to reclaim his former land, his former title, perhaps in the future. So that's kind of the build up here. But yeah, Penn and Rockdove one-on-one here. The first game was great. Rockdove was under a lot of pressure from Penn early, however, was not able to make it out, and eventually Penn was able to win. Big things to notice here right away is the villager count. That's something you want to keep an eye out. So in the top left and top right, you have this villager count. Currently, it seems like Rockdove's a little bit ahead, but we'll see if it makes a big difference as this continues on. I think an outpost here is interesting. I don't usually use outposts, but I kind of get the idea of an outpost. You know, it's just to be there to spot things, but it's like one of those things that I would never do. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's like one of those things I don't think of. Like I would probably just build a house in random areas to continue kind of scouting for it. But I wonder what the vision line. Perhaps the vision line's actually much greater. Here you have an elephant being harvested for food from Penn on this side. And I believe, and I don't know if they'll show it, but I believe at some point Rockdove in this game had got an elephant, but if you put your villagers in the town center and you kill the elephant, you're actually able to harvest it for food. So he made that mistake, and he does not get an elephant. So that is too bad. That is too bad. Yeah, but just slowly both teams building up here. Getting all their resources up and tidy. A lot of pressure, I'm sure, on Rockdove here. You know, is down 1-0, so he'll have to see what he can make do in this situation. But you see the villager count. So the one big thing here right now, the villager count is increasing for Rockdove. Rockdove does have that advantage in the villager count right now by 4, and this early on, having such a villager count advantage is very helpful. We'll see if he keeps that advantage economically as it continues on, but it should mean he should be able to advance to the next age, get that better upgrades, get them better units quicker. I feel like Age of Empires, like this is, I think Age of Empires and like RTS games in general have this really cool thing where if you have like a co-caster and you just want to have a little bit of that banter, a little bit of the banter, the opening kind of definitely gives you that time. You have like a 5-minute setup period, you know, where you can just like talk about whatever, talk a little bit about what's going on, but like talk about whatever, have some jokes, and then the actual pressure happens. Actually, our first game that didn't quite happen because honestly, Penn's just like, nah, I'm putting up a tower in 2 seconds. and just put on that aggression right away. But it seems like both players are very content, are very willing to kind of play this out, try to get that economy going. And Penn here guarding his wood line, you know, building up a little wall. You know, this is like, you know, I think Penn's like a planner, you know. I think maybe that's what makes him better than me, you know. I feel like me, I would just, you know, be like, they're not gonna find this wood line, so I'm not even gonna like bother protecting it. But Penn's a planner. He's like, no, I'm not gonna let people attack my villagers, you know. He's the kind of person you'd want as what's the word? leading your country here, leading your little civilization, protecting its people beforehand, not once the crisis starts. So there you go. Still, that villager count has now evened up, so it was 18 to 14 before. However, the difference is, right, the big difference is here, Rokhtov is going to hit the feudal age, same villager count. Now, in general, if this happens, right, it means you have a great economic lead. Like, you should be severely ahead. Economically, you could probably get the wheelbarrow upgrade pretty quickly, too. So, there are... You know, like, if this is one of those things, it's like if this was a pro game, right, the pro players would take advantage of it very quickly. However, right now, Rokhtov is just kind of building his own thing, building his own economy. But I would say Rokhtov is actually doing fairly well here. The score is a little bit, what you would call it, a little bit, I was going to see if I can... I think it's a little bit, it kind of doesn't give you the full picture because Penn scouted a lot, so I think that's why Penn's score is a lot higher. All these villagers are attacking this outpost. I don't hate this, but, you know, having 5 villagers not gathering resources, I feel is a little bit of a, you know, wasted effort. Perhaps, you know, maybe you can get... Oh, he doesn't even have a scout. I was going to say perhaps you can get a scout, but there's no even scout that you could kill that with. I guess the purpose of that was to make sure that, you know, Rokhtov couldn't spy on him, you know what he's doing. But I don't know how much he could use with an outpost, how much information he could actually use. This scout cavalry right away in the beginning is going to be very effective. That's the one big advantage. So speaking of that economic advantage that Rokhtov got early on, I think harassing the scouts, getting these scouts, this cavalry scouts to do a little bit of damage, you know, look around, see if they can find maybe these villagers hiding up here. It could definitely put you in a good advantage as this game continues. This one, sheep, you know, definitely interesting to me, this blurry sheep here, because I don't know if Penn knows it's here or if Penn's just ignored it. I don't know the reality of it. We have a zebra, or a zebra, as some people might call it. A zebra. But overall, you know, Penn is now expanding, using this upper side here to gather more resources, continue getting those resources. Fairly even now, I think, at this point, it's fair to say. A little bit of scout action here. They're moving around. I kind of wish the follow unit button wouldn't make the camera so shaky. You know, that's my one wish. On the other hand, we have 2 scouts coming in here from Penn, attacking the villager. And getting the villager. So this one wall, this this is like the wall, you know, the Great Wall of China, you know. It doesn't really have, like, there's points where it just isn't there, but, you know, it does kind of dissuade people or make it a longer time to go around. Although historically, I think a lot of people, like a lot of guards would just be bribed, or they'd see like this big army and let people through anyway. They're like, yeah, I'm one guard against this army of, you know, 2,000 or 3,000 people. I'm not going to do anything. So, you know, its effectiveness is only in maybe its presence, its ability to dissuade people from going directly in. But yeah, wall not complete. Although I mean, I'm kind of curious at this point. You know, would Rokhtov just want to go all the way? You know, build the wall from one side of the map to the other. I would give you, you know, it would let you know if someone was invading, even if it wasn't necessarily protecting you from that. This is interesting to me because I think, you know, Penn should be just following these, these other scouts. 3-2 advantage, should be able to win that fight. So, yeah, I would just keep these scouts there. Like these should be on attack move. All right, this should be on attack move, clicking that attack move button, and allowing you to fight it. And yeah, we'll see how this plays out here. So right now, it's kind of things have switched because the spearmen are effective against the scout cavalry, so it might make Rokhtov a little bit scared. However, villagers beat spearmen, so yeah, very interesting this dynamic here. The only problem with the villagers is they don't auto attack, so you have to right click. I kind of wish that Rokhtov would get these scouts over here to now attack the scouts here instead of running away from the spearmen, because all you're doing is getting these villagers are. You know, it's funny. Like if these villagers turned around to the scouts, it would have been more effective. You know, but right now I think 3 villagers are gonna go down to individual scouts, which is just very unfortunate. And it's actually evened out that villager count, so I actually see Penn ahead. Only difference though is Rokhtov is now going to the 3rd age, and that age advantage, that ability, the upgrades being ahead, is really, really big in Age of Empires. So, I mean, hence the name. So I think this will be a good way for Rokhtov to really push his advantage if you can get a castle up early. Like I would literally, you know, maybe plop down a castle right here or right here, just to, you know, if you get it down, like essentially this town center's done, right? And the town center where all the villagers are coming from, like they just have to sit in their town center, completely destroy this economy part of it. Obviously, the good thing for Penn is that he has expanded. He is doing other stuff. He is gathering food from the fish and wood from the trees there and here. So there's a lot of good things going on. But yeah, there's that one advantage. The other advantage of moving up to that castle age is you can get that 2nd town center, and then you can double produce villagers, continue getting economy. The one tough thing, which exactly what he's doing, I really like this from Rokhtov. The one thing that I will say, sometimes in games like this, it just feels like neither player really wants to put on pressure. They're kind of playing like, oh, we're going to have a treaty as if nothing's going to happen for a while, and that's kind of what's happened. Is it's been a little bit of harassment, but no one's really putting up a threat that can really pressure either player right now. You know, 2 scouts is kind of they're just there. They're gonna probably they might get some villagers. I actually like this turnaround. If this villager moved toward the archers, I think they would have worked out. But yeah, overall, deflecting that threat. Both players are now in the 3rd age. We'll see if there's a rush to castles, or maybe they have a different strategy that they're going for. However, there's that one town center advantage. I think these 4 might go for town center here too. But regardless, at this point, Rokhtov should be double producing villagers. He is going up to crossbowmen, so we'll probably see an archer kind of type strategy from Rokhtov, going up to that crossbowman. But yeah, this would be probably a good time to push your advantage. Yeah, have those 2 villagers. You can see the 2 dots there, 2 villagers being built at a time. So that should give you advantage until this town center is up. So we should see now the gap. Well, it's actually interesting because Rokhtov is down in villagers, but we should see him get up there in that villager count, and maybe be able to push militarily soon. We'll see though. We'll see how it plays out. More walls. I do like this, you know, being safe, being precautious, or preventative. I don't quite know which word I might want to use here. I don't know how this sheep is here, but sure. Yes, I like this crossbowmen. Like these crossbowmen can even come here. So the one nice thing about crossbowmen is you don't even have to take down this wall sometimes. You're sometimes able to just hit the villagers. But this is a force to be reckoned with from Rokhtov. I really want them to push this advantage. But obviously, you know, the one tough thing is if we look at Rokhtav's view here, this is all he sees. So he doesn't really know what Penn is doing. So that's why he's probably playing a little bit safe, doesn't want to get attacked. I don't think just right-clicking on a house is necessarily the right way to go. I will say, though, to be fair, I think sometimes we'll do this when we are focusing on something else. Maybe he's focusing on his economy. Maybe he's focusing on those upgrades. We actually see Bodkin Arrow upgrade here. So maybe he's focusing on those upgrades and you know, getting his economy going, and that's why he just right-clicked on this house. He's like, okay, well, I just don't want them to sit and do nothing. Now, knights are a tough thing to deal with. If you are the archer civ, you do need a substantial amount more of these archers than there are knights. These 2 knights are probably going to wreak havoc. I don't really know how he's going to stop it. However, the nice thing is, with this many crossbowmen, he can just harass and get villagers. It's, you know, I think a lot of times, sometimes, especially at this level, it's like perceived threat versus the actual threat. How well can each player gauge what the other person is doing, right? How much, you know, how big of a threat is this group of crossbowmen actually? This is actually very fortunate, because if I was, especially when you have knights, right? Arrows take a long time to kill them, so like you can just throw them in and have them do stuff. They've actually not been here for a while, and I think it's probably because Penn has been preoccupied with his town center, making sure that his villagers don't die. However, I do like this. I like any pressure that he's able to put on right now. I think is great. Oh, no. Yeah. Wow. A third town center. I do like this economic expanding from Penn. I think it's great. Just building up that economy. You know, you want to hit that 100 villager count, which is it's a rule of thumb. It's correct 60% of the time, but if you can get to that 100 count, and continuing with these one mangonel, one scorpion things, I'm actually really liking this from Penn, because it puts him in a position where, especially against crossbowmen, one shot can just completely change the game. I think that's maybe one of the more difficult things about. Ooh, that was nice. I think he actually pushed with this. This is probably the best time to push. One of the most difficult things about dealing with those siege workshops is their area of effect damage. And I don't think Rokhdov knows, but I think Rokhdov should definitely be pushing out. This continual kind of expansion of this area, essentially uncontested, I really like. It's a nice style of play, just continuously gathering resources. And as long as Rokhdov doesn't find him, which, well, we're about to find out. Once again, his vision. Oh, he does know about this. He does know about the north base, and so I think this will be a clear. Like, there really isn't anything to defend it, so that's the downside. It's an easy way to pick off some units. Boom, boom, and then I would keep heading north. I don't know if he knows about the north, so he might just take his time. No, I do like that. You just want to keep getting villagers. Don't really have a way to quickly destroy buildings right now, so that's great. If you would want to, right? If you would want to, maybe like throwing up a siege workshop here, anywhere here, might be nice if you want to actually start getting buildings down. But right now, this is great harassment. It's going to prevent him from doing much. You should prevent that watchtower from going up. I think if it goes up, it's a little too late. They run away. Okay, and you can literally hold position here, and I think you've kind of done your job. No, that's not true. If you have the micro, you can keep harassing these and force them into the town center. That's perfect. Now you could feasibly actually just keep the crossbowmen here, like just outside the range of the town center, and hold position. And I think that's great. These knights will be a pain to deal with, but I think like this squad has already, like, you just keep harassing these villagers, and I think you're kind of doing your job here. So I think that's good. Ooh, is going back down, so maybe he wants to put a little bit of pressure on the main base. I think the fact that you only, like, this is not a big enough army to really threaten town centers. So that's a tough thing. It seems like everyone's trying to hide in the town center. Although, yeah, that's the thing about town centers. You just put all your villagers in, and all of a sudden you have like a slightly stronger tower, you know, with a bunch of arrows coming out. So that is the other part of it. You know, maybe we can take stock of things right now. Right now, if we want to kind of look at some upgrades, I think when it comes to blacksmith upgrades, definitely head for Rokhdov. So his crossbowman, I think, will be pretty powerful. Otherwise, you know, we have 77 villagers to 70 villagers. I think I would say Rokhdov is ahead here. Now this is an interesting castle, because I think honestly it just invites Rokhdov to ignore it. This is definitely threatening. These siege workshops, you know, you have to constantly look at your little squad and make sure they don't get taken out. But yeah, this threat is great. I think I just need, like, plopping down a castle aggressively, I think would be great from Rokhdov here. because he isn't really like his pressure is on villagers right now. But I don't see any threat right now where Penn's like, oh, Penn's gonna lose, right? That's the one thing I think is missing right now. He doesn't really have a way of taking down the buildings currently. 14 knights is nice though. I think I don't know where they are, but yes, I would definitely use them, especially to take out these siege weapons. But I think this is definitely gonna be a turning point. I think you probably actually attack into this town center, or maybe attack down here. Yeah, totally. And especially with the knights are gonna take those down a lot quicker, or take down the siege weapons. So there you go. There's that aggression. I would always take one. Yeah, you can take 1 or 2 knights, even 1 knight. If you see these, have 1 knight attack that. Okay, you don't need to clump these up. You just click 1 knight, right click on that siege weapon, and there you go. But honestly, with knights, like because they have a little bit more defense against these guys. Ooh, battle elephant. I kind of like that. You just have to be careful you don't get distracted. I do like these sneaky siege weapons. They're kind of forcing Rochdove to maneuver his units a lot more. However, that move up to age 4 I think is great. This castle isn't doing much of anything, I'm gonna be honest. I understand why he put it there. He's like, oh, I don't want this economy to be interrupted. But like, and the castle here is way more pressure, right? Castle right in front of their base or between you guys is way more pressure than there. Now that is exactly why these one-off siege weapons that you've been using are so effective, is because any not paying attention is immediately punished. So good work. I think this might actually force Rochdove to play Cav only, because the Cav player can survive. I think he's being way too passive with yeah. I think you just right click, go in. Don't worry about clumping with the knights as much, because the mangonel has a tough time hitting him and doing a lot of damage. And now this is a point where I think he can actually scare him off from the town center. Now 4 town centers are up from Penn, so Penn is at that point where he's like, I'm gonna have the greatest economy in the world. So if he, honestly, the one thing, like, and I've said this before, right? I think the one thing that Penn is missing once he kind of hits this like stride of 100 villagers, 4 town centers, is plopping down, like, I literally mean like 10 of whatever production building you're using, whether it's a stable or archery range, just like 10 of them, okay? So you can quickly build things. Because right now, if you look at the army, right, if you look at the resources, Penn is way ahead, more villagers, definitely has a great setup. But when you look at the army, it just seems so tiny, and it's like, you need to have those production buildings already built, all right? So I would plop down. There it is. Even, like, okay, no. 5? How many are these? 3. There's a whole, okay, yeah, that's good, that's good. I would probably plop those down a little earlier, but yes, you should have, like, a massive amount of production, because that's kind of what Age of Empires becomes later on. The ability to continuously remake armies is more important than anything. This is a very threatening army from Rochdove. I don't know if he's using it effectively, but I do want more attacking, just destroying stuff. Like, this is big enough you can right-click a town center right now. I'm pretty sure if you walked over here and you right-click this town center at this point, with this many knights, you're gonna kill it. So, and especially when you go to Cavalier. Yeah, I right-click down this town center, because that completely cripples a lot of economy. I don't know why you're right-clicking barracks. Not quite sure about that. I mean, I don't hate it. I just cripple the economy first, or just maybe get rid of whatever the bigger threat is. That being said, I actually think Rochdove is a great position here. I'm complaining, but I think Rochdove might be at that point where he can just, oh, the elephants that just don't die. But no, he's at a point where we're gonna right-click all these buildings down. Like, one by one, he can just go right-click. Right-click, right? And he could probably fight this. This amount of elephants, though, is starting to get scary. I don't know if scary, they just don't die. Penn is gonna stall this game out to a point. Okay, side note, Penn has way too many villagers right now. Like, he's already at the maximum amount of villagers. I think he's absolute max of villagers you'd want. You just have to make sure they're equally distributed. So, yeah, I think Penn is absolutely the max. Rockdove doesn't really have villagers on wood right now, so I would get a couple more on wood. Especially if you have farms, that is important. So, it seems like he's sending all of them to wood, actually, that's good. So yeah, big thing is production buildings. I think both players could probably do with building a couple more, especially as the game goes later on. But they're not maxed out yet, so I mean that's the one counterpoint, I guess. Okay, let's see how they do. Let's see how they do against these elephants. I think the elephants are gonna do great. Because it's like a mass, right? It's like, oh yes, they're 30 cavalier, but they'll do it. For sure, Cursor, you do have a great day. Castle's up here. Okay, protecting. Nice little castle here. Next level though, we're going to paladins, dude. Paladins. We'll see how that plays out. Once again though, at this point with 4 town centers kind of over the map, it seems like Penn is a much safer position, but at 130 villagers like that just feels crazy to me. But he's like, it feels crazy, but at the same time his army is not like, this is his whole army, and yet he's not really being pressured anyway, right? With this many, I mean, I don't know. Let's take a look at Rockdove's perspective. You know, at this point he could, you know, maybe not where the castle is, but any of these town centers he could just right click them, right? Right click them down pretty quickly, and I think he could take this one out quite easily. It's more about knowing where they are. He could even take this one out under the castle, because the castle, you know, against this heavily armored knights, right? The paladins, like the castle isn't doing much, firing a couple arrows, so you could right click down pretty much most of these town centers. These elephants though are a little scary, so we'll see how this goes. Fighting under the castle is a big thing, and the fact that it's already paladins is big, so we'll see how this plays out here. I think it will go to Rockdove's advantage, but like maybe not. It's like a tank versus like, I don't know, I guess something that does more damage. I don't know what the analogy is gonna be. The extra arrows, any extra damage that you can put up, any healing you can put up, because they do elephants do damage slower, so. Yeah, I think this was a thing of critical mass. He got to a critical mass and it's impossible to destroy now. He's gonna win with elephants. Is that what's gonna happen? This is amazing. Elite battle elephants from Penn and the Malay. Like it's not even like they're like it. The thing with what Rockdove was doing is like, it's not that you can't fight the Cavalier, it's just you need so much more. I wonder if they have a bonus. They might have a bonus against horse, but it's like they do a lot of damage. They might be slow, but they do a lot of damage, and they just have so much health that you are not able to take them down, right? What's the yeah. So it's like, see, this second castle's being built, but at this point, like, I really don't know what he can do. So yeah, this plopping down of a bunch of stables completely worked out to Penn's favor. He was kind of uninterrupted and had apparently this strategy, the elephant strategy, to end the game. So there you go. I don't really know. Like, yeah, this is the thing, right? It's like, okay, yes, he keeps building castles, but these elephants have so much health that it does not matter. And that's why pushing your advantage when you have it is so important, I feel. I feel like if that's a lesson that we've learned, is push your advantage while you have it. You know, like any of these castles earlier up here, right beside the town center, close to the town center, it's a lot of pressure. When you had the Cavaliers, getting rid of the other town centers might be good. I mean, overall, though, I don't think you played poorly. I actually think economically you were ahead a lot of the time. But then there was a point when you got, like, 4 town centers, especially in all these, like, different parts of the map, where it just felt like his growth was uncontrollable. And now it looks like Penn is making his way, attacking that town center. Now you're like, oh look, it's taking a long time. Yes, but it's also taking a long time to take out these elephants. Look, let's see this elephant. Okay, this is the elephant. Look how many hits it takes to destroy this elephant. So he's at that critical mass of elephants where they take too long to die. I think actually if he had his whole elephant army together, he'd be taking these down pretty quickly. This is actually a little bit of distraction that I don't know if it's working. But right now it is definitely turned to Penn's side, Penn's favor. Yeah, I guess, yeah, my only thing about Penn's play is maybe have these up a little earlier, because better players might put on pressure, and if you don't have your production buildings to respond with units, you'll have a tough time. That's maybe my only big hint. Overall, you played this well. You kind of went that full macro strategy, and now it's at that critical mass where I would also take down town centers if you can, right? It completely messes people's economies up. And yeah, so I would take this out while you can. He's kind of stabilized now, interesting, but you know, here it is. More elephants. More elephants. You just have to right click, like you just have to right click forward. I don't, maybe Penn's getting upgrades right now. Those getting trebs, and you don't need bombard cannons. This is an illusion. I mean, it's good. Okay, you can use your bombard cannon, but like literally you took down the last castle with these because you just have that critical mass. But I don't even go further. You can completely ignore this castle at this point and go and destroy everything else here. There's no protective units. There's nothing protecting anything here, okay? You're destroying a castle that isn't doing much, okay? There's two castles not doing much. I do like this castle from Rockdove. Might be able to essentially, you know, eliminate any resource gathering here. I do like that. But yeah, this castle will fall, and especially once he gets the critical mass of these bomber cannons, he should be good. He just has to protect them, but he'll slowly take them down. Okay, this bomber cannon kind of fell to nothing, but sure. The other one will make it all the way. Okay, and now the elephant flood begins. Right click on whatever building you want. You can probably just put them in attack stance and leave them. I'm gonna be honest. You can, at this point, take all your stables, okay? Right click right in the center and just let your elephants do their thing. I think there isn't really much to stop it. You don't even really have to micro them. You can probably like worry about defending this stuff or getting your economy, getting those last couple upgrades up. All stuff you could look at. But yeah, I don't think there's much coming back from this. So yeah, I think that changing point, the one big battle where it was the paladins against the elephants, it was still at a point where it was manageable. But as soon as the elephants became a greater number, there wasn't really much to do. And so I think this is probably gonna be the game. Ooh, look at all those villagers. Yeah, Penn is at 133 villagers. I think that's too much. You could probably have slightly more. Yeah, I think at 120 is the absolute maximum I would go. That being said, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe just elephants. You know, you don't need that many. So, well, I mean, relatively. You know what? I can complain about the villagers, but until you're maxed out, it doesn't matter. Maybe when you're maxed out, you could get rid of a couple. To be fair. Yeah, there really isn't much, I think, here. Rockdove having a tough time. Solely the elephants doing their thing. I would be producing all the elephants from these stables. Really trying to do something. I respect this, because I mean, he's a 123, or no, he's close to like, he's still near 100 villagers, but I think once, ooh, I do like this. I do like this a lot, actually, the switch to halberds. I actually really like that, especially against elephants, right? Because they can't really run away, unlike calves. Like, if you're a calf player, you can kind of run away from a lot of these guys, but it's all about critical mass now, right? It's like, can you get enough of them together where you can actually start right-clicking down these elephants? But yeah, once these villagers are going down, that's definitely a tough thing to do. I actually really like this play. I think the only problem is like they're getting picked off one by one. You kind of need to group them up, unfortunately. This turned out a really cool game, though. I don't think I've seen this many elite battle elephants before, but they're definitely a unit you can mass because they just kind of don't die. And there you go. So Penn is the winner. Congratulations, 2-0. I think these were some great games, some really close games. But there was definitely chances for Rocktov to win. There's definitely chances. I think Penn played a very greedy style. Okay, maybe not the first game. The first game he was very aggressive. The second game he was very, very like economy focused. But both of them had holes, right? There's definitely chances for Rocktov. There's times where Rocktov was ahead in both games. So I loved how close it was. I think one of the big things that I feel I've learned, at least from watching these games, is more than anything the need to put some pressure, unless you're absolutely certain, right? Unless you're like, oh, I'm gonna, if we both go to max, I'm gonna win, right? If you're a really good player that way, then you can maybe play like that. You can just like, I'm gonna defend and I'm gonna get up to like 4 town centers and just build a bunch of elephants. Maybe if that is your strategy, then you can definitely do that. But I think is not, if you do have an advantage, especially if you have a standing army, right? Like maybe those crossbowmen, or maybe the calves, is using them in and around the map, right? If you can't take out buildings yet, take out villagers, but there's that critical mass, especially with cavalry, where you can start taking out town centers just by right-clicking on them. So important things to know. But thank you both. I love the games. Thank you so much for sending them to me. And our Feudal Lord is Penn. However, I'm hoping we'll see Rocktov in the near future as well. I think you showed some creativity, some cool games as well. So I really hope to see from the both of you. All right. And with that, we'll see you next time, whenever next time is. Ranged units.